perfect timing, perfect synergy that was happening, perfect relationship building. So man, we all about it, man. And you a good brother. So
thank you, my brother.
You got to be behind the camera one of these days, bro. We gonna
Oh yeah, and
right,
for sure. This is what I'm working on it. I'm getting everything together, and but my vision is the Brian Gumble of Black entrepreneurs. So you'll see me. I'll be narrating pieces and doing these documentary style, kind of shorts on our people in this city that's on the way up. So. Not even 24 hours after releasing this interview, we all had another opportunity to speak at the Detroit Main Library. That's a pretty big deal. I had always envisioned that Black Business Finder would bring about speaking engagements and panel discussions, just not that fast. So I'm just gonna take some time out to give thanks to the people that made it possible. Christopher Kyle, Robert Courtney, Jay Success. Thank you, my brothers. What we're doing is negating all of the negative stereotypes about not only Black entrepreneurs, but Black male entrepreneurs, our most endangered species.
So he can act, bro, I don't have no balance. I'm 24/7. I got an obituary job I got to do right now.
He's probably the most balanced of all of us.
The most balanced.
Now, do you think that it helps that you and your wife are kind of involved in your brand?
So, prior to the business, I feel like
Where my notepad?
Right, we can take intermission.
But you know what? Prior to business, I feel like my wife and I built the brand together. So like Chris and Honey was kind of like its own thing, where I have a certain level of popularity, but once I kind of incorporated, she was just my woman at the time. She's my wife now, but like once I incorporated her into things that I wanted to do, that I wanted to promote, and people were like so much more receptive of it, people began to become fans of, well, not fans, but supporters of us. Right. So I think like I kind of maintained that as we went into the business side of it. Like she's about to launch a business this month. Can't say what it is yet because she'd kill me, but yeah, I try to incorporate her. I mean, of course, it's a struggle at times when you're trying to be really responsive to all of your customers, because you can have inquiries and orders and whatnot coming in at all times of the day. But I definitely try to be mindful of it. I know these guys do a ton of more stuff than I do. I only got 2 businesses at this point. I do different trips, and I got a cruise coming up and other things. But I try to maximize. I try to the time that I spend on things. Like I try to I try to simplify it to where it's like I cut down the phone calls. So I don't talk to people on the phone. So I think that's a major thing with businesses. People aren't calling me constantly. If they do, they're calling about a photo booth rental or something like that. But they don't call me about hashtags. They don't call me about the cruise. All these different, events and excursions and whatnot that I do. I cut the phone aspect out of it, so that gives me more time to be able to balance, with my wife. But I'm still learning in the process. Like I say, I've only been at it for 3 years now as an entrepreneur. So I'm trying to learn from these guys, and and we gonna just keep improving, keep growing. Hopefully we all be millionaires, and I'm trying to get there in 2 years. That's my goal. So
I mean, Chris make like great points, because number one, he came from a different setting. Like he was doing well in the corporate world, and so he transitioned into entrepreneurial endeavors kind of with the framework that included, his wife. So I think anytime like your partner or whoever is a part of the actual business, I think that makes it easier. But just in terms of balance, and I was being funny, but at the end of the day, like I'll make sure I have time for my wife, I'll make sure I have time for my kids. It's just what's enough for our situation might not be enough for the next situation. So I think there has to be like an understanding, like you have to have a partner who understands like what your ultimate goals are, the amount of work that's required. I mean, to be an entrepreneur is one thing, to be a successful entrepreneur is something completely different. And then to reach the levels that we aspire to reach, I think is a whole nother thing, you know. And so it's like it's sacrifices around the clock every single day. Stuff happens at the drop of like, we decided to do this like 3 days ago, you know, and I'm sure there was 1,000 things you could be doing. You say you got a print job. You know, I got 3-4 proposals that need to be written, accounts that need to be managed, team meetings that need to be set up, videos of my own that need to be done. But the opportunity to sit down with 3 people that I know are going just as hard as me, you know, somebody that's aspiring to go as hard, it's like that's a sacrifice that I felt was necessary. And those type of things happen on a daily basis, and you got to just kind of like prioritize and figure out which things require that sacrifice. But just in terms of comparing what we do to the average person, like that work-life balance is just a huge kind of like it's just impossible to have it on like a regular person level, I think.
On a recent blog, as he was recording the audio for his newest book, Crush It, Gary Vee had this to say. See, this book is for 2 audiences. The first is for the people who know to the depths of their souls that they are born to build something great. Natural-born entrepreneurs should find all the information they need to improve their current efforts or start making plans of their own. Not just the young, not just the tech-oriented, not just professionals in established careers, or those looking to renew themselves because they've outgrown their industries. Or worse, their industry is shrinking.
See, the thing is, with that, if you watching and you interested, he still laid years and years, and we've laid these years of failures, years of trying this business, doing years. If you desire to do that, then you have to cut something out. I mean, if you watching sports, if you binge watching on Netflix, like that's where the sacrifice and that constant preparation comes in, and just pushing and pushing and pushing.
And you gotta cut out some people out of your life in order to get there.
Most definitely.
Because you know when you have an idea, you know what I mean, and that's been done before. I had people say, well, what they gonna do with the signs? And it's like, you know, I had my vision, but I couldn't rely on anybody else's confirmation because it wasn't their vision, it was my vision. So it's like,
that's what I always say, it's like 100, you gotta have 120% belief in yourself before anything happens.
Yeah.
And just to kind of piggyback on what y'all was talking about, like the sacrifice, like I was telling a guy the other day, I was actually like, it was a revelation to me that I really don't do anything. Like if it's not business related for probably the last 7-8 years of my life, I don't really have very many extracurricular activities that I'm involved in. Cause he was like, let's go grab a beer and a hamburger, or when we gonna link up for like, you know, like bro, I really don't do that. Like are we gonna get together to talk about some business? Or are we gonna get together to like go over a plan for something that relates to the business? And then this is the other thing. Like a lot of people look at that like, I don't want to be like that. You know, they look at it like it's a negative thing. That was gonna be my next
question. I was gonna ask, do you desire to have more of a social life outside of business?
And you know, I don't. I thoroughly,
and
like
that used to be
thoroughly,
weird, though, because people, the norm is going to work and seriously, let's think about this. The norm for people is working, and then on the weekend
they go
partying.
hang out.
But that's the one, because we like, okay, what's weird? What's the weird thing now?
Right.
The weird thing right now is not doing shit.
Yeah,
it's like why is that weird?
Yeah.
I don't want to. I really, in my heart, don't have to party ever again.
Yeah, like I'm like
I'm
you know what? For me, like I'm very involved in the Detroit nightlife scene. Like I do events. Yeah, like I do events
every
and
weekend.
yeah, I'm there in the environment every weekend. But like I just did one of my vlog episodes last week or week before last, and I wanted, because I get questioned about that so much. Like, you're in the nightlife, like you must enjoy it, like you must crave that. Like, it's not about the nightlife.
That's why I quit promoting.
Yeah, it's really like, I'm there to observe people behavior. I'm there to be connected to the demographic of people that I do business with. Like, I want to interact with them for my business. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But it's not enjoyment. It's not entertainment.
I'm not there to party. I'm not there to
pleasure.
turn up. I'm not there to, cause like my favorite music is being played. I'm not there. I'm there for conversation, but the conversation is for different reasons, and it's hard for people to like.
And keep in mind, it's only certain people that you see. It's only some clients that I'll never see or be able to talk to unless I go to a club.
Exactly. But see, that's the consumer though. Like, really, everything we do is for the general population. It's for the consumer, and it's for the 21s to the 35s to the 40s. You know, so for me, I feel like it's very important to understand the nature of that consumer, and a lot of them are in the clubs. Like, that's just the reality of the situation. So, you know, when I think about it, like, I really enjoy working. Like, I really enjoy.
That's your passion.
It's my passion. Like, my passion is working. So
That's
no,
very
it's not.
weird to some people.
It's so
That's
weird.
very
It's
Hey,
like.
that's weird to me.
Can you-
Because
go
me
ahead.
personally, like, I mean, but that's his truth. You know what I mean? Like, me personally, I like to have fun. You know, maybe it's just because I am the baby entrepreneur out of the group. I'm fresh at it. You know, only 2-3 years in, but I enjoy having the trips and doing
Yeah, don't
crazy
get
stuff,
me wrong.
having
Like, everybody
fun.
wants a vacation.
We talking
right?
about going downtown on Friday,
Right, yeah,
partying
yeah.
type
I
of.
do it
on a regular
sometimes,
basis.
but more, now listen, I don't have to be in nobody's club.
I would.
I like to do like the wild factor.
This question
Yeah.
though, here's a question. When you processing orders,
Mm-hmm.
like the tedious part of what you do, like the actual invoicing,
Mm-hmm.
like the stuff on the computer, like this guy don't even have, like he uses a PC, right?
Oh, okay.
Like, do you use a PC?
Yeah, I have to.
Oh,
For
both
the
of y'all use
fucking-
PC, okay.
Yeah.
What are we supposed to use? The phone?
No, like most people use Mac. Like Mac is just.
No, I
feel like
have
it's an
I have
Apple-
Macs.
Yeah.
I have Macs.
I never got into Apple, bro.
Yeah,
my,
and then-
my wife uses Mac, and she talk about me for still using the.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you have to do each order individually by hand. Like, you don't have like a major software that's like processing
Correct.
that high volume of orders you're getting.
Right.
So that, I mean, I can imagine that becomes very tedious at times.
It does.
Do it bother you to do it?
No.
And that's what I'm talking
That
about.
part.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I'm, like,
Or
that's
the
the worst.
frustrations that come up when you just things just not.
I mean-
you like but you kind of like, oh, it's cool. Like
When
it's
when it's your business, like, you know what I mean,
It's
you love it. I
enjoyable.
mean, like, it's hard work, but it's work that you want to do because it's fulfilling. Because
Right.
you're providing your own income. You're building something that's nobody can snatch away from you.
Right.
So like, it.
You
time
become in
consuming.
love with the process.
Absolutely.
And that's
Absolutely.
what I think that is what separates. The other thing that separates like the successful entrepreneur is we've become addicted to the process of making something successful. We don't care about the end result because we know if we do the work, then the results is gonna come. So
And I think we live in a time now to where you can embrace your truth, and you have social media to put that out there.
It's so
And
visible. I mean,
it's so visible, and whatever works for you, you embrace that and keep pushing. Like, I'm not with the whole typical, like, I can borrow some of what you said, the trips and seeing new things. I love that part, but just the typical things and just saying the things that may be weird to other people that I do enjoy. Like, for me, just talking about work all the time, having those type of conversations, just being a habitual working person is weird conversation for a lot of people, but that's something that I put out there now, And I just love it, and I'm not hiding from those type of things. So I think just embracing your truth will really help you, because that might secretly be what works and could work for somebody else, and they just don't know it yet.
Just believe in yourself, man. Believe in yourself. You definitely have to get started. I feel like the old rules, throw them out the window and just get started, get working on something. Resources are all around you. Social media, you have to get active. You have to post more. You have to connect with people. The easier you connect with people, you build an audience, and then once you have a product, a company, a service, once you put that on the table and show it, you know, now that they trust you, they begin to start supporting. So, you know, just get started. You don't have to know all of the answers. Everything will just begin to fall in place. The more you work, you'll figure it out along the way. And you never know, you'll be up here getting interviewed too.
Sure.
You know, start watching House of Cards and put that time into, you know, your business or your vision. Like Chris said, you know, posting more, using your resources. Most definitely, you wanna the people you spending money with, your barber, you know, or you going to the hair salon, your teachers, your family, you know, start your product with them and get feedback on your product. And you don't really need a lot of money to do that. It takes a few checks to get that business going, and start with your community and the people that you talk to and build with, and then start expanding from there. You're gonna get your feedback, and people gonna point you in the right direction. So I would definitely start there.
Yeah, I mean, they said everything. Like, at the end of the day, you got a phone, access to the internet,
Family.
social media. Like, if you have those three things, you can get your business off the ground. And I think it takes zero money personally. Like, I think honestly, the most successful businesses, Chris being a great example, like, it really just start with building a community that's paying attention to you. Get your community paying attention to you, engaging with you, building trust with that community. You do that consistently enough over 2-3 years, even if you don't even know what it is you want to do for generating revenue, the community is still needs to be built, regardless of what the product is, regardless of what the service is. So just put out interesting content. Like, just put out, you know, your day in the life stuff that's interesting. Put out quality pictures. Put out you with your family. Put out stuff that's gonna make people pay attention to you. Once you have them paying attention to you, it don't matter what you launch, because they're going to roll, because they trust you, the individual, they trust your personal brand, and from that point, you can get anything popping.
True for my business thus
Branding
far.
for beginners.
Yeah.
March 6th,
March
Tuesday,
6th.
March 6th, 7 p.m.
Right.
Link will be up soon.
Peace.